Darlington's awesome. That lady in black, man.
Man, I love Darlington.
Darlington history.
You know, the history of Darlington is the history of NASCAR.
She's mean and she's fast and she's too tough to tame. Old school racing at its roots. Oh, we've got a crash.
The World Series of Stock Car Auto Racing. Here they come. When you've won at Darlington, you've done it all.
If you've won there, you've definitely had to earn it. A win in the Cup Series at Darlington would be huge to have my name up there with guys like David Pearson as winners.
There's been no fluke winners at Darlington. When you look down the list of people that have won at Darlington, it's the who's who of our sport.
The toughest 500 miles in American stock car racing.
It's that old school mentality, rough and tough. It's just one of those tracks that you never can let your guard down. 43 cars at a place that you should only have about 10. Real tough track to get around. You got to run 6 inches off the wall and sometimes even closer to be fast. When you're that close to the wall, running that fast, you're going to make a mistake. Your car's going to slide up at some point.
Everybody that has raced at Darlington has got a Darlington stripe. If they told you that, they haven't, they're lying.
When there's trouble ahead, there's nowhere to go. There's another car out of control. Look out!
Michael, watch him up in flames!
Doesn't matter who you are, what races you've won, championships you've won, that track will ground you and chew you up, spit you out the other side. There's a reason that it's called the track that's too tough to tame. It's earned its reputation.
In NASCAR's most recent history, Kyle Busch returned to where he wants to be, and that was victory lane at the Richmond International Raceway. But go back in time to NASCAR's most distant history, and you'll find the roots of racing at the Darlington Raceway. NASCAR since 1950, this was the scene of the first 500-mile race, and in a parallel universe, the idea remains the same today. Forget your competitors and fight the lady in black, because today she will be covered by the Darlington stripe in the racing tradition known as the Southern 500. On this Mother's Day weekend, we're at the true granddaddy of them all, NASCAR's original super speedway. This place can be tough on your ego and on your race car. Welcome everyone to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Hey, if you're a race car driver and you're looking for your happy place, don't look here at Darlington. There is no happiness out on the racetrack that they know is too tough to tame. We have Kyle Petty and Kenny Wallace, race car driver. KP is a motorcycle rider. Back to us, off of the KP motorcycle charity ride.
Just for a few hours, then I'm going back on the motorcycle.
Well, we're glad you could do that. That's very cool, and what a cool place to watch a race tonight.
Kyle Petty has already put more miles on his motorcycle this week than they will run in 2 days here at Darlington. But make no mistake about it, race fans, this is Darlington. It's the legendary Darlington Speedway. There is no track like this in the United States. When you get on Highway 601 from Charlotte, North Carolina, and you drive down, you go, man, look at the cotton fields. Then you start to feel it. You get the goosebumps, and you go, man, Earnhardt won here 9 times. This is where David Pearson won. This is where the king, Richard Petty, won. And now we got new legends like Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch. I love this racetrack. You must love it to like it. It doesn't get that many nicknames unless you love this racetrack. And it's mean.
It's mean. It's a mean place. And here's the deal about this racetrack. When you look at this racetrack, they're getting ready to open up the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Right behind us here is a living, breathing Hall of Fame. The who's who of NASCAR that has won here, won races, won champions. This is the history of this sport. We talk the history of Daytona a lot, but the history of the sport and the super speedway era started right here.
The first ever NASCAR race run on pavement happened right here at Darlington. And for more from inside the racetrack, let's now join Hermie Sadler and Wendy Venturini. Guys, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Johnny. Yes, they call it the Lady in Black, and that's a color you don't want to be wearing today. With temps close to 90 degrees all weekend, things are definitely going to heat up outside and on that racetrack. Now, if we take a look at the points from when we left last week at Richmond, looking at Darlington, Kevin Harvick back on top, taking over lead from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, good night for Kevin Harvick. Jimmy Johnson drops 1 spot. Kyle Busch got up to the third spot, Wendy, and look at Jeff Gordon. He climbed 4 spots to get in that top 6.
Yeah, after he was 10th last week. Now, if we take a look on back, Denny Hamlin moved up 2 spots. Kurt Busch fell only 1, but Jeff Burton was a big mover.
Yeah, and also look at Carl Edwards. He has not had the season he wanted, but a good run for him at Richmond last week gets him up into the 11th position, Wendy, heading into tonight's race.
Now, this is where Dale Jr. fans are going to sigh. 13th through 20th. It's not going to last long. Dale Jr. is going to get back in the top 12.
Yeah, look at Martin Truex Jr. doing very well for Michael Waltrip Racing. Tony Stewart, a little bit of a surprise right there with teammate Ryan Newman. Juan Pablo Montoya down a little bit further than he hoped to as well.
Now, here we are right on the front stretch. The start-finish line is behind us, Hermie. The race last night, what we saw with the tires of them not falling off as quickly as they have in the past. Keep in mind, this track was repaved in 2008, so it's a different type of surface. What do you think we're going to get from these tires this time around?
Well, it's still going to be the same old tough Darlington, but what we saw last night, and this goes back to the Goodyear's testing at Indianapolis last year, the technology they learned for these tires and how the tires take to the track or put rubber into the racetrack is just making this racetrack drive a little bit differently. The tires are reacting differently, and what we saw last night, Wendy, track position is just as important, if not more important, than tires are going to be. But look, last night was Nationwide cars. These are Sprint Cup cars, completely different ballgame.
It's a whole different beast. Now, we're going to hear from Chad Knaus and our pit crew strategy, Sunoco pit crew strategy, later on in the show. But we are going to see some different pit calls tonight, and those calls are tough on these crew chiefs. What do you think is going to happen for strategy?
Well, you know, crew chiefs all year long have been, you know, sick on the stomach. These green-white checkers, how many green-white checkers? At the end of a race, what do I do? In years past, Wendy, you come to Darlington and say, as a crew chief, I don't have to make any decisions. When the caution comes out, we get 4 tires. But tonight, it's not that simple. The crew chiefs, once again, will have to make those important calls on when to stop, how many tires to get, and when to make your last stop to try to get maximum points here at Darlington.
And the question becomes, Johnny, these crew chiefs can make these calls, but will the drivers listen? One driver in particular did not listen to their crew chief last night in the Nationwide race. Anything can happen with 500 miles, Saturday night racing at Darlington. You got to stay off the wall. That's the key.
That's exactly right. This is just a tough track, and when they talk to drivers about racing at this track, whether you're a veteran driver, this place gives you a headache. If you're a rookie, it's a tough place to learn on. But what the thing is, Kenny, is they tell you before you take to this racetrack, race the track, not your competitors. What do they mean?
This is one of the only racetracks in all the United States, if not the world, where they tell you, don't race nobody. And let me tell you why. Because 2 cars can hardly fit on the racetrack. Designed years and years ago, this racetrack here, looky here. Okay, somebody gets in the wall, Dale Jr. Oh, look, there's another guy getting in the wall. What happens is you start, oh, I'm loose, bang, I'm in the wall. I have no room. So what they want you to do, now look here, here's practice. There's Jamie McMurray. He's our pole sitter, and he hit the wall in practice. Here's another, whoop, whoop. That's Greg Biffle. Here's a great Kyle Busch. Whoop, out of the wall. He's going to start towards the back of the field. The bottom line, Kyle Petty, is me and you have been taught. Race the racetrack. Don't race other cars. Why? Because there's no room to run too wide at this racetrack.
It's not much wider than a 2-lane country road. And when they first came here, some guys ran on the bank, some guys ran on the flat. It was amazing to watch some of the footage from those first races when my grandfather raced here and some of this. The thing is, it's a technical track. You don't think about it being a technical track. You got to let off the same place. You got to pick up the gas the same place. The car's got to work. But more importantly, the driver has to drive here. Probably more than any other racetrack we go to, the driver has to be on the wheel all night long. And you heard Hermie talking about the tires and not dropping off. Let me tell you something. The speeds tonight are going to be a lot greater for these guys than they've anticipated or that they've had in the past.
When it came to qualifying, the top 3 qualifiers set a new track record. So this place is definitely fast, and that's why the fans are out in force to see this race. The Southern 500 tonight under the lights at the Darlington Raceway. Jamie McMurray, for the 2nd time this season, is on the pole. He will lead us to the green flag in just a matter of a couple of hours.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by the General Automobile Insurance Services. For the best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now. And by the United States Air Force. Experience more at airforce.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. In a little less than 200 races, Kyle Busch has won 17 times in Sprint Cup competition. And after what seemed like a long absence by his standards, he made it back to victory lane under the lights in Richmond last weekend.
For Kyle Busch, the good news is he's sitting on the pole. The bad news is no pole sitter has won a race since last October. But Kyle has taken Richmond. He won here last year. He's been a regular here in the top 10. And Sunday will be his 25th birthday. He hopes that with some help there, he'll mature enough for his first victory this year.
Here they come down to the line. Kyle Busch and David River. Green flag goes in the air. And Kyle Busch has the Jackrabbit start. Gets out front all by himself as they head off to turn number 1.
1.6 lead. Oh, yeah. Very good. 2/10 quicker than everybody, even when you're passing cars. There's no other competition.
We noted that the 31 car of Jeff Burton was really good on the long run, and he's starting to close in ever so slightly on Kyle Busch in the 18 car. You can see the difference there, and it's shrinking.
I'm thinking too much out here. I need help. I can't roll the center like I used to, and I'm freer up off.
The driver who led the entire first half of this race has a problem.
I might have something going down. It just flipped the switch. I think I do. Feels almost like a left rear's going down. Dude, I don't know what happened to this race car from the beginning of the race. It sucks. We'll get it back, bud. We'll adjust you up.
Trouble back straightaway. Sam Hornish Jr. around at the entrance of turn number 3. Noses into the inside retaining wall.
Now, let me tell you something. That 18 car can restart better than anybody out there right now. This could be a bad sign for Jeff Gordon.
Head out, come up to the gearbox smooth. You'll win this race.
The run to the finish here tonight in Richmond, Virginia. Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch up front, both trying to erase a long, dry spell.
Here they come off turn 4. Green flag goes in the air.
The battle for the lead, it belongs to Kyle Busch. He is walking away in the final laps. Kyle Busch dominated early, now coming out of nowhere to try and win this thing.
All right, man. White flag.
Looked like they had lost the combination they had earlier this evening, but they found it just in the nick of time, and Kyle will drive to victory lane here tonight in Richmond, Virginia.
Dave Rogers, I am so proud of you. Unbelievable job, guys. Thank you so much. Good work, boys. Busch was so good, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And with that win last week in Richmond, it moved Kyle Busch up to 3rd in points. That's where you know you want to be, closer to the front. Now people are finally saying this is where Kyle Busch needs to be in points. What is your take about how we are in the season and where you guys stand?
Well, I mean, we feel like we could be leading the points, but, you know, I'm sure every team out there feels that they could have some better results in some areas. But, you know, for us, you know, we feel really good about where we're at. You know, this is where we need to be, especially, you know, just the first 26 races to get ourselves locked in the chase and not have to worry about too many things, and then try to concentrate on our cars and be ready to go and put it all to them in the final 10.
All right, we were talking about at the top of the show how difficult this racetrack is, and almost every driver has that Darlington stripe. You're one of the ones that has gone to a backup car for today. What's going to happen during the race, and how do you keep that under control?
Well, you always try to keep the right side clean, and fortunately yesterday in the Nationwide car I did that. You know, I didn't touch the wall all day long, and I was trying in the cup car. Didn't have anything going on until you know, we missed the splitter height through practice for qualifying, and got in the wall there. And then for qualifying, we freed it up too much, and then I was just too loose and ended up tearing it up pretty bad. So we decided it'd be better off to just go to the backup car and get our double mint Camry nice and spiffy and clean back up and go after him today. You know, we start deep in the field, but Jimmy did it last year, coming from 42nd to 2nd. So we know we can do it. We just got to bide our time, do a decent job, stay out of trouble, and you know, try to pass as many as we can when we can.
What's your assessment of this racetrack this time around? Since we repaved it in 08 with the tire that we have, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's really cool. You know, it's a really challenging racetrack, but it's just become so aero sensitive here. I mean, I think the repave was a really bad idea. You know, you used to have it where tires would fall off, good cars would come to life. You know, you could save your tires, you could pass people with them falling behind or whatever have you. So, you know, right now it's just so aero sensitive that everybody runs the same lap time around here. You really never see any fall off. If you do see fall off, everybody's falling off at the same rate. So, you know, we're just going to have to see what we can do tonight and try to jump some spots on pit road. you've never heard this before at Darlington, but two-tire strategy and no-tire strategy is going to come into play tonight.
Well, there we go. We hear it from Kyle Busch, and we do have to mention Mother's Day weekend. Kyle has his mom, Gay Busch, sitting right here. She'll be at pre-race activities. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. I also want to wish my mom happy Mother's Day, and Jeff, I'm sure you like to do the same. A big weekend to have this race at Darlington. Still the Southern 500, but a great job to have it on this weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah, it really is. You know, Southern 500 means so much. The history and the heritage of this sport really, you can be traced back to this racetrack and makes this track really important. Of course, this weekend is really important because of Mother's Day, and I want to wish my mom happy Mother's Day, and my wife's mom too. So happy Mother's Day to everybody.
And look, let's talk about your season. When I think about, you know, the Jeff Burton of old, you run a 500-mile race and you don't see much of you. The last 100 miles, you say, here comes Jeff Burton. This year, at the halfway point of the race, there's Jeff Burton up front, and when the race is over, you say, where's Jeff? But you guys have been fast. How do you turn that speed into race wins?
We have been fast, and what we got to do is we got to, number one, keep fast. We got to keep that speed and make sure that we're always have fast race cars, because if we have that, we can make stuff happen. We just have to execute a little better. We've made some mistakes late in the race. We've had a few things happen that were out of our control. Can't lose sleep over those things, but we just got to do a little better job of executing and not making mistakes, you know, at the wrong time.
And talk about this racetrack this weekend. It seems like from the time practice started, the racetrack is taking rubber a little bit differently. Cars are not falling off the speeds we had. Race strategies last night were a lot different than we've seen in the past. What are you guys going to do when it comes down to crunch time?
Well, this track is this is Darlington. It's still Darlington. You still have to race a racetrack, but the strategy is more like you have at racetracks where the tire wear isn't that bad. This asphalt is just incredible. Goodyear's done a good job with his tires. So you got to get old Darlington out of your mind from a strategy standpoint. You still got to drive it like old Darlington, but you got to think about the strategy completely different, because you're just not going to see the tire wear and the fall off on speed that we're accustomed to seeing at this racetrack.
And before we let you go, yeah, I know you got enough pressure on you already, but tonight, if you win, somebody else wins too. A neat promotion you guys got going with Caterpillar. Tell us about that.
It's really neat. Western States CAT has got a promotion with their eligible customers. If we win tonight, one of their customers will win a 277 multi-terrain loader, or skid steer as you and I would know it. And that's really cool, because that's a heck of a piece of equipment. You can have a lot of fun on a skid steer, man. I don't know if you've ever driven one, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, I look forward to Jeff Burton being in play tonight. And, JR, when you think about the Southern 500, a 500-mile race at Darlington, sounds like Jeff Burton's kind of race. I keep an eye out for him tonight if I were you.
That's a pretty good idea. Good piece of advice there, Hermie. A couple Virginia guys telling you what's going on here in South Carolina. Jeff Burton has won twice on this racetrack and once in the Southern 500, so keeping an eye on number 31 is a good idea. When we come back, we're also going to have a live pit crew coming by to see us.
What makes this place so tough? When in doubt, grab an expert. And it doesn't hurt if he's got the most all-time wins at Darlington either. Kyle chats with the Silver Fox to find out the quickest way to victory lane at the Lady in Black. Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
One of the great sights to see at Darlington is, of course, what was formerly known as the Joe Weatherly Museum. Now it's known as the Darlington Stock Car Museum. It's an automotive festival, history of Darlington. It has race history, memorabilia, and also classic cars, those driven by the names of the like of Bill Elliott, Buck Baker, Curtis Turner, and, of course, Old DW, and also the man who's had the original idea of this museum, and that was Joe Weatherly himself. There's a picture of Weatherly back from '65 in his driving shoes that don't look anything like the kind of shoes we see on the drivers in this day and age. You know, back in the day, no one drove this racetrack quite like David Pearson. He sat on the pole 12 times here and had 10 victories. And our own Kyle Petty had a chance to sit down with the man they call the Silver Fox.
Darlington, a legend among super speedways. The Southland's oldest and greatest action track.
David Pearson is the boy to beat today.
And it's David Pearson looking for his fourth consecutive win, taking the lead in the opening lap of the Rebel 500.
Pearson hammers the throttle and takes the lead as if he owned the Darlington Raceway.
You got 10 wins at Darlington, most all time, 3 Southern 500s. Why were you so successful at Darlington?
Lord, I don't know. No, I just,
it's a track that you had to keep your mind on all the time, you know. People talking about it, the old lady in the back, you know, too tough to tame. And I said, if anybody's going to tame it, I'm going to try to tame it, you know. And I always felt like that was my hometown track because it is in South Carolina. And, but after I got to going there, and it seemed like it's just like when you first get there, it's just like you ain't ever been there before.
Yeah. What made it so tough when you went there the first time? Or when you say it's like I go there, it was the first time every time. What made it so tough?
Just because of the trash on the racetrack, and you can see where people run, and it was usually a, you know, a dark line there and all that stuff, but I always wanted to run just a little bit higher than that for some reason. And, well, you know, it ain't how fast you get into corners, how fast you come off. Yeah. And you could run it as deep as you wanted to. And, you know, I've had people ask me that, you know, new drivers come in there, how do you run the track? And I'd take them out there and show them, and they say they could run to here. I said, I don't care how far you can run. If you can run it deep, run deep, but be back on the throttle when you get right here, you know. And so that was a tip at Darlington, is knowing to get back on the throttle and not run in so hard.
So many people go there, and they're so intimidated by the place. You know, they hear the Lady in Black, Too Tough to Tame, you know, the Darlington Stripe, all the great history. And you know, you said earlier, you said, you know, I figured if somebody was going to tame it, by God, it was going to be me that was going to tame the place. Yeah, I was going to try to tame it. You think you had like half those guys beat right off the bat just because you felt that way about it, and they were a little bit intimidated by it?
Well, I don't know. To tell you the truth, I know I've been there a lot of times, and, you know, after you win 2 or 3 times there, they've been the guys that go out and practice, you know, and I'd go out and I'd look back and there'd be 3 or 4 behind me. They didn't know it, but I wasn't going to run where I'd normally run, you know, while they was there behind me, you know, because we hadn't qualified yet. So, but during the race, I would run, you know, and it didn't matter then because they done forgot it, but the next time he come around.
You got to believe, and you've said it before, you got to believe you're better than everybody else when you go out there and you get in the car anyhow.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, if you feel like somebody is better than you are, he's got you beat already. Right. You don't have to worry about it.
But when you looked at that, did you just have that confidence going to Darlington maybe as much or more than any place else, or was it the same that you took everywhere?
Well, it's the same as you go everywhere as far as that goes, but you don't go there saying, well, I'm got to do this or got to do that. I don't even think about that till I get there. Then when I go, you know, you can run 4 or 5 laps around a racetrack. You know where you're going to run, you know. And it just might not feel comfortable to you running low. And naturally, you move up a little bit. And, of course, just different things. That's just like today you hear I'm talking about putting a 1/4 pound of air in the tire and stuff like that. I don't believe in that. I mean, I know it makes a difference, not that much difference. All they got to do is move up that much on the racetrack and it'd change it. So why would they want to change it for 1/4 pound of air? So they can stay right on bottom, or what?
That's a good point. What was the first year you went to Darlington? Did you go as a spectator, or did you go to drive?
To drive?
You went to drive the first time?
I never had been to Darlington. You know, I sat and listened to it on the radio while I was working on an old car like this, and they talking about the rubbing the wall and all that stuff. I said, people's crazy, running a car that fast down there and doing that kind of stuff. And I know the first time I went there and I rubbed the wall, I was trying my best to stay away from it. But first time you rub it, you sound like you tore the whole side off of it. Come in and have 2 little streaks on it, you know, where you rubbed up against the guardrail. And that was really the fastest way around.
Well, they called him the Silver Fox because he was so sly about the way he got around this place. But one of the things about him, though, Kyle, is he knew how to drive this racetrack like nobody else, and some of the things he talked about still apply today.
Still apply. You heard Jeff Burton talk about it's still Darlington. You still have to race the racetrack. You heard a couple of things there. You heard David Pearson say, I didn't let anybody follow me. I didn't show them where I wanted to run. He had the racetrack in mind. He knew what he had to race. He was not worried about the other competitors. He came down here with all the confidence in the world, and it shows in those 10 wins.
You know, I like it. David talks about the old guardrail. Quick story, my brother Rusty's, he saw on the bumper off of Bill Elliott trying to win the Southern 500. Rusty finished second. The next day I see Rusty, and Dale Earnhardt is with Rusty, and he goes, Rusty, all you had to do was spin Bill Elliott out, and you'd have won the Southern 500. And then fans would have got over it. I don't know if they'd have got over the day, but that's how big this race. Earnhardt told Rusty, spun Bill Elliott out, you'd have won the Southern 500. Fans would have got over it. That's how big this race was. but they had a guardrail back then when Rusty and Bill were going at it.
And you're going to want to stay with us on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. We got part 2 of Kyle's feature with David Pearson coming up. But also, we have a story about why they call Bill Elliott $1 Million Bill. Stay with us, everyone. NASCAR Race Day rolls on in Darlington.
He's got a last name any driver would want. But does his race shop also draw others' envy? Scott Speed shows us around Red Bull's HQ, and we'll see if Team 82's home base is up to snuff. Around the Turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
May 19th at Time Warner Cable Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina, the pit crews get their chance to shine on All-Star Week. It's one of the biggest events during All-Star Week, and it's when the unsung heroes get to be put in the spotlight in front of their friends, family, and fellow competitors. They get their shot at a championship and potentially a whole lot of cash as they practice their craft competing against one another in the Pit Crew Challenge. Much more information on that coming up in just a moment. It's Wednesday, May 19th at Time Warner Cable Arena, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Speed. And one of the groups that's going to be out there trying to go for this championship is the number 9 team, which powers Casey Kane up and down pit road. Eric Wilson is the pit crew coordinator, and also a guy that gets busy and mixes in with this thing. You know, Eric, a lot of people don't understand that after you guys work all day long in the hot sun, you fly home sometimes from the other side of the country, you put these guys in the gym the next morning at about what, 7
Yeah, we can't let our guard down. You know, these other teams are doing it, so, so we have to jump in there and get prepared for the next week. And we don't have much time off even during the winter, but we let them rest a little bit on Friday and Saturday to to get ready for this stuff on Sunday. But Monday it's time to get after it.
500 miles tonight, a lot of pit stops, and track position is so important, and it's hot as well.
Yeah, but we practice all the time for it. We're out in the heat during the week doing our stops, and thank God that that it's we're going to get into the night here, and it'll probably end up being 10 or 12 stops, but we're ready for it.
Tell us a little bit introduce us to some of these guys back here. We'll kind of go around the corner and see who we got here.
Well, back here on the gas, we got the world famous Big Tank Probus. Back here on his partner catching gas is Bobby Grant.
Okay.
Back here from New Zealand, actually, we have Kevin Duncan.
All right.
Over here, the rear tire changer, Jim Carbon. Sean Ward up here, the front tire carrier, and representing Kansas proudly is John Royer up here, our front tire changer.
All right, you got guys from all over the place, but on May 19th, you guys are going to go for a championship and a prize. There's an individual prize on the line, a lot of cash. How much pride and how much effort do you guys put in that pit crew challenge?
Well, we've been waiting for this for a year, and we're 10, 11 days out. May 19th, we get to go do our thing, individually go out there and try to shine and be proud that what we do, try to be the best at it and get that trophy.
How do you balance training for that event, but also keeping your day-to-day stuff going?
Well, we try to separate it a little bit because it's a little bit different thing. The last 2 weeks we've started practicing for it, doing a little bit more on the competition stuff, but we've been working out hard. We went through about an 8-week training program to get ready for it. So, we keep it separate, but these last 2 weeks, we're really going at it hard, and we're going to be ready for them.
Now, these guys want to be champions, but Wendy is standing by with the guys who are the defending champions, or at least one of those pit crew members from last year's championship team. Wendy?
I'm actually with 3 of those pit crew members. I have the front tire carrier. This is John Wallace. I have Adam North, the jack man, and the gas man from the winning pit crew challenge. That's Kurt Bowman. Now, we're going to chat with each of them real quickly. John, we have the pit crew challenge coming up on May 19th. What do you do to prepare?
We do our standard pit stops. We try to simulate a few things like car being on a jack stands. Just changes your angle of approach a little. But mainly, we do a lot more cardio since we have the push involved, and we're excited about this year. We're looking to push our way to another victory again in front of all of our Caterpillar sponsors.
All right, now let's head over to Adam here, our jackman. How is the feeling of that night at the Time Warner Cable Arena? I mean, it's different. You got your family, your friends, your supporters. It's a lot different pressure than what's on pit road.
It is. It's really concentrated, but what we try to do is just focus on our game, and we know how prepared we are. We know how hard we've worked, and everybody just do their job. And no mistakes. You'll hear that a lot because you can't out-push a penalty. But and that'll be our focus again. So we're no stranger to pressure. We perform under pressure out here every week at the racetrack, and we hope to bring another championship home to RCR and for Caterpillar.
Now, Kurt Bowman, the gas man, was just watching the interview with the 9 pit crew coach, and you already had some talk going on for the competition. You guys are bringing it, aren't you?
We're going to bring it, that's for sure. I think we're bigger and stronger than we were last year, even. So we've got the trophy right now, and we intend to keep it.
Those words are sticking with Kurt Bowman, and these guys are true champions, and they do work hard. All these crews on pit road work hard, and this pit crew challenge, Johnny, it is a huge deal for these men.
You know, Wendy, we used to call them the unsung heroes, but in this day and age, they are getting the credit that they deserve, and part of that credit goes on stage at that Pit Crew Challenge. You don't want to miss it. May 19th, that's on Speed at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. It is a hot night at Darlington, and we'll be back in just a moment. Saturday night, May 22nd, the stars come out and the gloves come off for the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed with $1 million on the line. It's checkers or wreckers. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race Saturday night, May 22nd, only on Speed. And for that matter, too, Sunday, May 23rd is going to be a great day as well. We'll have more on that in just a moment. But right now, if you come to Charlotte, we want to show you there's a lot of stuff going on there. And right now, our tour guide, Scott Speed, is going to take us on a tour of the number 82 shop. And that's something that you can do if you come join us in Charlotte for All-Star Week.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Team Red Bull Racing Team. But a cool little experience here for the fans when they get to come visit the shop. They get to do some really cool shopping. Actually, if you notice over here, we got some of the cool gear I helped design. That little Scott Speed Girls t-shirt with a little kiss on it. It's cute for the girls. And we got some cool artwork here. Cool view of the race shop where guys are getting dirty and working on race cars. I don't really know much about that, but it looks dangerous, so that's cool. Let's go behind the scenes here, so to speak, and show you what Red Bull Racing Team is all about. All right, so here's the main shop floor area. Here we got Brian's backup car for Darlington. Here we got Toyota putting in a big thumper of an engine into this beast here. Looks complicated. And over here we got, this is my backup car for Darlington. Hopefully we won't need that again this year. And here we got the 2 primary cars. These things are on the surface plates, getting all fine-tuned, making sure they're perfect. So right here we got the car after it's done getting tweaked on and all set up and dialed in. They bring it over here and they drop this crazy contraption up here on top of the car, make sure it fits all of NASCAR's inspection. Let's go see if my crew chief's doing any real work today. What's up?
I'm on an important phone call right now.
Yeah? He's probably telling a story. He's good for that. His nickname's Mother Goose.
Your nickname for me is Mother Goose. That's not my nickname.
Whatever. You're just mad because it's catching on.
What about Darlington?
Yeah, so how about Darlington, huh? Yeah, I'm just trying to give the fans at home sort of a quick overview because I'm so insightful about what goes on here.
Yeah, you know what's going on here?
I'm trying. I'm faking it. Come on. So don't throw me under the bus
What
too
car
much.
is this?
This, I told him this was the backup for Darlington. That was my aim.
It's one of yours?
Yeah, I knew that was mine.
Why? Because your name's on the roof?
Yeah.
I gotta keep you grounded because you get off the ground quickly.
I'm light.
Huh?
I'm light. I drink a lot of Red Bull. All right, so let's get serious here about Darlington for a second. What are we gonna name this thing?
I might have to think about that for a little while.
Yeah, we need to get a good one. All right, so I'm gonna go see what real guys do when they're working. So let's go find out how they're rolling at the pit school.
You need directions to get there?
Huh? It's across the street. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good talk. All right, so here we are at pit practice, where my guys get to do their training. As you can tell, there's a lot of them in shorts. They got their t-shirts rolled off to show off those big guns they've been working on. But yeah, let's see what a live pit stop looks like. If they ever get one done today. I've actually, you know, I've heard they sit around and tan all day, so let's see if they actually can do some good work. Let's go! Normally I'm like, I'm burning out after that when they drop it, but They're just practicing, so they just set it down nice and easy. Good work, guys. That was a good one. Look at those guns. Woo.
15 times. eBay.
eBay.
They're out of the big ones. They have some smaller ones like that if you want.
So when they're done doing their little pit stops to practice, you know, they try different strategies, you know, 2 tires, 4 tires. They come in and watch it. You know, here at Red Bull, we got all the high-tech stuff.
12:50 is your time. That's what matters, bud.
It's a lot harder than it looks. I've tried. I'm not even gonna get out there and embarrass myself. It's tough. All right, so we've seen the gift shop, we've seen the guys, the pit crew guys, seen the shop for the most part. This is where it all goes when it gets on its way to Darlington. By the time they're packing this thing up tonight, I'll be fast asleep in my bed. My guys will still be working hard, lots of love for them. I'm gonna go ponder a name for the Darlington car because it's really important. Kind of messed that up last weekend. Don't want to do the same mistake twice. And yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Well, guys, it looks like after a lot of pondering from Scott Speed, we are at his 82 car that he will race tonight at Darlington. And right here above the driver's door, we see Scott Speed, and we see the name Knightley that he very affectionately named this race car tonight. Now, not sure exactly where that name came from. I hope to ask Scott so we can let our viewers know that later on. But any ideas, guys, about Knightley other than it's a night race? What do you think?
I think it's Knightley because it's going to be like a knight in shining armor. It's going to come to the front like jousting with the other. It's silver, you know.
I think it's Knightley like good night. What kind of pit tour was that right there? I don't understand that. But I want to tell you something. Yeah, and that was a good piece. Scott did a great job there. And, you know, drivers do spend time in their shop. I think Scott tried to blow it off a little bit. But the cool part was, what I noticed on the pit stop, did you see how the car was parked in there sideways? Pit crew guys practice bad pit stops because drivers never get in their box right. And I can attest to that because I don't think I ever hit a pit box right.
I told Scott Speed on Twitter the other night, I said, me and you are pretty much the same. We're always seeking attention, and we're both very weird people. And I still stand by that comment.
Are you saying that piece proves that?
I like Scott Speed because he's as weird as all get out.
Good guy, though. Good guy.
I'm sure he appreciates that, too.
I love you, Scott.
Good guy.
I love you, too, Dad.
That was a great tour, and I don't believe for a minute that that's the first time he saw the inside of that race shop. I don't believe it for a minute. We got to take a break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back, so much more. There's the number 14, driven by Tony Stewart, and you could see him in a victory lane near you very soon.
25 years ago, $1 Million Bill lived up to his name at the track that's too tough to tame. Kent Squire recalls 1985 and one of our favorite Darlington moments. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
After the checkered flag is waved, be sure to check out NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, and catch all of the race highlights and raw emotions straight from Victory Lane. Also, go to speedtv.com, keyword Sunoco, to enter for your chance to win an autographed flag signed by the winner of today's race, and that winner just could be the number 48 driver, Jimmy Johnson. He's got Chad Knaus on top of his pit box, and they've won twice here at this track before, so who better to go to than the Chad for this week's Sunoco Pit Strategy of the Week.
Here we are at the Lady in Black on Mother's Day weekend. This is a very intense 500 miles. You're going to see race cars up along the wall. The wall is going to be beat up. The race cars are going to be beat up. We actually used to take a little bit of extra time before we came to Darlington and weld some extra bars in the right side of the car. So when the drivers would go up and bang on the wall, it wouldn't destroy the whole side of the race car and tear the rear end housing out of it. Well, NASCAR's actually helped us a little bit by adding that extra foam in the right side and the left side of the race cars. So when the drivers do get up and bounce off the wall and get that Darlington stripe, it doesn't get in and contact the tires. So it's a little bit better for us, actually, even though NASCAR is just trying to make the race cars a little bit safer. It also wasn't too long ago that you didn't even want to roll your tires across pit road because the tires would get worn out so quickly because the pavement was so abrasive. You go 5-10 laps, caution would come out, you would have to come to pit road to get some new tires on there. Well, now we can actually go the full maybe 60-65 laps on a Sunoco fuel run and not really have to worry about tires at all. You'll actually see some guys throughout this race probably put on some scuffed tires because it appears that a few laps on your tires might actually make it just a little bit faster and a little bit more consistent. A lot of things are going to unfold for this race, you guys. Sit back and enjoy it. It's going to be a good one.
Thanks, Chad. It always is. You know, folks, our friends in Nashville, Tennessee are struggling right now after devastating floods came through the area, and they don't seem to be getting the notoriety or attention that a lot of other disasters recently have had. And Kyle, there's a couple different ways we can and should help out.
Yeah, and you know, obviously Greg Biffle and the Red Cross, redcross.org, to go there. The people in Nashville, you know, there was so much unexpected damage. I think when you look at it, you look at the Hall of Fame, we've got our Hall of Fame, and we know how precious it's going to be to us. Their Hall of Fame, the country, I guess the Grand Ole Opry out at Opryland, all that stuff, or where Opryland used to be, all that stuff was damaged, not to mention the loss of life and the other things that went on up there with the flooded and the property damage. So, you know, that's a big deal. So go to redcross.org.
Yes, let's pitch in and help out those guys down there right now, because there was some devastating flooding that came through that area. We got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, but we have so much more coming your way. From here at Darlington, they call her the Lady in Black. She can hurt your race car, but she can also hurt your ego. We'll be back with more on that in just a moment. When you come to Darlington for a race, you should take a cruise through downtown Hartsville, South Carolina. It was first settled in 1760, and it received its name from Captain Thomas E. Hart, who owned most of the land around the area. Coker College began in 1894, and it was founded by a local businessman and Civil War veteran, Major James Lyde Coker, from 1837 to 1918. And the South Carolina Governor's School for Science and Mathematics provides an advanced education opportunity for successful high school students who demonstrate interest in science and mathematics, and perhaps one day that science could apply to driving race cars here at Darlington. It was nothing too scientific about it. Back in the day, it was worth $1 million to win 3 of the Big 4 races of the year, and that is the way Bill Elliott got his nickname, $1 Million Bill. Ken Squire has more.
It couldn't be done. Ask anybody in 1985. They'd tell you straight out, it might get done someday, but to win $1 million bonus for winning 3 of 4 races on the nation's most challenging, demanding circuits, first time out, not a chance. R.J. Reynolds didn't have to worry about that $1 million bonus. With a top-heavy talent list in 1985, that million was as safe as in Mother's mattress. After all, with Cale and Bobby, Richard and Texas Terry, Benny and Bonnet, Gant, and oh yeah, Earnhardt for sure, and the new boy, why, winning a couple of those shows, maybe. But 3 of the 4 on those tracks, right up there with Flying Pigs and refloating the Titanic. Here were the 2 fastest ovals in existence, Daytona and Talladega, coupled with a pair famous for grinding car and driver right into their pavement. Charlotte, the 600, and the Hope Wrecker, deceiving Darlington. So first came Daytona. Gee whiz, there went the new boy. Huckleberry Bill, alias Bill Elliott, stunk up the show so bad that outside of the first 60 laps, when he and Cale swapped the lead 6 times, it was an old-fashioned walkover. Of course, it was NASCAR's fault. Disgruntled car owners raised the roof about the Elliott advantage. His Ford was lower than the others, they said, and NASCAR raised the roof. They told Bill and the other Fords that before Talladega, they'd have to raise their roof 1/2 inch. So they did, and it worked for Elliott. Went even faster at Talladega. There was a moment of hope for the others when number 9 made like a smokehouse, pitted for over a minute while brother Ernie tinkered up an oil line connection, sent Bill out nearly 5 miles back. Bill made up those 2 laps under the green flag, and he sped off into the record book at an average speed of 186 miles per hour. That was the day when Huckleberry Bill from Dawsonville became Awesome Bill. Now picture this. The task, too big to accomplish, winning 3 of the 4 biggies, was 2/3 done. But now came the ones that wore out equipment and wrung out even season champions. Think Coca-Cola 600, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Memorial Day. 600 pole sitter Bill Elliott led the assault and held his own early on. Then the car got a mind of its own. Bill had a handful keeping control, while Ernie had a brief chat with a bulky race car. Earnhardt and Waltrip had them covered. But hey, Elliott fans weren't concerned. He'd made up 2 laps to win at Talladega. Then, a bad break. No brakes. Tried to stop, nothing doing. It may have been a simple lug nut that came loose, lodged against a brake line, wore a hole in the brake fluid, fled with Bill's chances. He returned, stuck it out for 18. $46,000, a long way from that million that had brought the media and the multitudes. So it all came down to Darlington. The last chance for Bill's Winston Million came at the track so tough, drivers gave it their highest compliment. They called Darlington the driver's track. Please, hold the headlines. Just let me race. And here he was, surrounded by extra security, battling the build-up bedlam. It became a game of dodgem. Earnhardt spun, banged the outside wall, then back into Elliott's path. And Bill missed a day-ender by inches. Earnhardt walked away saying, well, that's old Darlington. A few laps later, Yarborough in front. Bill Elliott perched on his tail. A puff of smoke from Cale, and fluid streamed back to blind Bill. Thinks fast, sweeps low, and keeps on trucking. Later, a member of the press complimented him on his brilliant maneuver. Golly, I'm sure I had my eyes closed, said Bill. It wasn't a blown engine for Cale. Busted power steering, Waddell Wilson got him back into the fight, still a contender. And devious old Darlington devoured favorites and veterans alike. At the finish, Bill Elliott was out in front of a determined Cale Yarborough. Well, we didn't outrun them. We outsurvived them. That was the hardest race I've ever run, he said. 1985, the year Huckleberry Bill became Awesome Bill, and later $1 Million Bill, and one of the most popular racers we've ever seen. NASCAR's most popular driver, fan vote, 16 straight years, and today with that same easy manner, that belief that it doesn't cost a nickel more to be nice to folks. He remains a NASCAR icon, and a pretty good role model is just plain Bill from Dawsonville. Gee whiz, thank you very much.
Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. I mean, what a great legendary race car driver. You know, he won the $1 million bonus in 1985. Now, let me shed a little bit of light about money back then. You know, today, $20 million to run, say, Jimmy Johnson's team. In 1984, I was the crew chief on the Levi Garrett team of Joe Ruttman. That year, Levi Garrett gave us $600,000 to run the whole year on. So the next year, Bill Elliott won $1 million when he won right here in Darlington. If that doesn't put into perspective what big money that was, Kyle, to win $1 million when basically most of the teams were only getting $600,000 or $1 million for one full year.
Yeah, $650 was a big deal, man. You were for a high-priced team right there. That was huge. You know, what Bill did that year, you know, there was a time there where he had won 10 out of 20 races. These were Richard Petty numbers. These were David Pearson numbers. These are Jimmy Johnson numbers for you people out there today. The $1 million doesn't sound like a lot today. But that $1 million bonus for those 4 races was a huge thing for this sport. I wish we had it back again. I wish some sponsor would come along. To match $1 million, they'd probably have to put $10 million in, because it'd have to be like $10 million Jimmy, $10 million Jeff, whatever. But they'd have to do something like that.
I like to give credit where credit's due. The year that Bill Elliott made up 2 laps on the field at Talladega, Kyle Petty finished second.
Hard to believe.
Why couldn't Bill Elliott?
Why couldn't they give you $1 million, Kyle?
Bill won the race and $1 million, and I got keep my ride for another year and got some money to go home.
T-shirt.
Yes, thanks for the ride.
But you're still with us now, and that's the important part.
That's it, man. That was the Wood Brothers car. That was a fun ride.
You know, they do something really special here at Darlington on Mother's Day weekend. Coming up on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we're going to get a chance to meet some of the mothers who had the opportunity or challenge, if you will, of raising some of these drivers in the field today. Stay with us, everybody. It's Mother's Day weekend in Darlington, South Carolina.
Back in '03, Darlington saw one of its craziest finishes. We'll flash back to that memorable race when Craven pushed Kurt to the limit in a battle we'll never forget. Heading your way, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day here in Darlington, South Carolina. Another Saturday night show is going to take place with the Sprint Cup Series. The track too tough to tame. The Lady in Black, and she bit Kyle Busch earlier this weekend, twice in fact, in the primary, and it had to go to the backup Clint Boyer in the wall. In practice, Casey Mears in a backup, 8 different drivers in a backup here at the Lady in Black, and I don't even know why they paint this wall, but I think it's because of that, the drama that it brings in the black stripe at the track too tough to tame. Now, earlier in the weekend, Hermie walked us through each turn at Darlington Raceway and what is so tough about this racetrack. Here's Hermie and what's so unique about the Lady in Black.
When you come to a racetrack that has one nickname, you know it's a tough racetrack. When you come to a place like Darlington, that you've got many nicknames, you know you're in for a tough night. Track too tough to tame, the Lady in Black. The reason this racetrack is tough is it was built for speeds of 130 miles an hour. These cars are excess of 180 getting around this racetrack. Now tonight, things could get interesting from the drop of the green flag. Take the green flag at the start-finish line, speeds coming into turn 1. The challenge of turn 1 is you need to be single file when you get right here. You can see the entrance of turn 1, it comes down to one groove. Now you can run side by side, but you're hurting speed from both cars. So the idea and it sets you up for a good exit off of turn 4. You make it through the first 3 corners, it sets you up for turn 4, the only place on the racetrack that is really a little more room to race and move around with your line a little bit. A good sweep in turn 3 and 4, and a good exit off of turn 4, very important. You'll see drivers using some of the lower part of the racetrack. Some drivers will hug the wall all the way around turns 3 and 4 and try to get maximum forward bite back to the start-finish line. And that's one lap around Darlington, the track too tough to tame. And it'll be interesting to see what driver and crew chief can be patient, aggressive at the same time, and make 500 miles to make it to the legendary victory lane here at Darlington.
Throw the cliches out the window, because when we come here to Darlington, it doesn't matter what you call this racetrack. The bottom line is this track will bite you, Hermie. Now, single file into turn 1, that's hard to believe, but it does happen here.
Well, that's what you have to be, like as we talked about in the piece. And we're talking about 180 mile an hour plus speeds at a racetrack that really wasn't built for that. And we've heard drivers talk all weekend long about being frustrated, how hard it is to pass here at Darlington. But that's what makes Darlington so special. But these guys have to be patient. They have to get spots when they can get them, drive aggressively when they need to, but also understand when it's time to bag off and log some miles. So we'll see what happens tonight.
And we talk about a physically demanding racetrack at places such as Bristol, but this track is equally physically demanding on these race drivers, and we will see that tonight, Johnny.
Wendy, thanks a lot. Now we're going to go modern day for you and old school for you as we take a lap around this track too tough to tame. The egg-shaped oval built that way to miss the minnow pond at the end. And let's go riding with Casey Kane.
Here we are, Casey Kane going into turn 1. On the gas, wide open right here. Start pedaling. Listen. You want to be wide open when you exit turn 2. You want to be wide open when you enter turn 2. Okay, here we go. Into 3. Kyle, I always think it's important to listen to another man's throttle when he races his car.
That's about as fast as I've ever been around here. I never ran that fast around here.
Stop.
Let's go back 35 years.
Look at my man Kale. Where's the Hans collar? Where's the head support? Where's the neck brace? Where's all this stuff? My man's up on the wheel here. Look at this thing bouncing around. Look at how much he's... Remember, this car's probably got manual steering at that time. So he's sawing that wheel. You see him swing to the outside here. This is another point, like Kenny said. This used to be turn 1 because the front stretch, they've swapped. They just moved the line from one side of the racetrack to the other, and it's reconfigured. But, you know, those guys used to blast off into turn 1. It wasn't a big deal. It was always turn 3 that scared you when you were riding with Kale here someplace like this. Racetrack's still the same old racetrack. You still got to get around it. But these guys, you look how black this place is and how slick looking it is. Down across the flat, right up next to the wall. Don't have those safer barriers. That's old school stuff right there, man.
When I look at those black marks, JR, we still run that exact same groove today.
And you guys had made the comment earlier, the real game changer this time around, or the past couple of years here at Darlington, is the tires. And is it going to be the same thing tonight?
Yeah, well, obviously. I think that's what we've heard from the very beginning. You say, okay, they repaved the place in, 2007, 2008. But the tires still fell off a little bit. This year, for whatever reason, the tires are not falling off. And the drivers are concerned about it because they like it when you fall off both. Because if your car falls off more than mine, if Kenny's car falls off more than mine, that's when I can pass him. I don't have to worry about using my tires up early. But if they're all equal, it's tough.
In last night's NASCAR Nationwide race, I finished 20th. Not a real good run, but the car never gave up. It just ran fast the whole race. Now, Jeff Burton said it right. Whatever your chassis set up, whatever the tires did at the old Darlington when the asphalt was old, throw it out the window. The old Darlington is gone, but it still drives the same way.
Hey, and Wendy asked why they paint these walls. So you know where you hit it, so you don't want to hit it again, my guy. I wanted the wall painted because I kept slapping it.
Hey, 367 laps, 500 miles tonight. These drivers are going to have to be in shape. Now, when you think about some of the guys who are famous for their workout regimens, I like my old buddy Mark Martin, who goes to the hot yoga during the week. That's good for going in.
It's going to be hot yoga in that car.
It's going to be hot yoga in the car.
But you know what? It's a night race now. It's a night race, and that's right. These guys are hydrated. These guys work out. They eat right. You know, we saw the piece on Pearson, and he took that last toke off that cigarette before he popped it out the window and won his 10th race here. Don't be popping that at me, man. But anyhow, you know, I mean, it's a totally different time. Totally different time in the sport, and I don't think fatigue and the heat factor is as great now as it was then because those guys were in a different time and it's a different car. Kenny's going to do some push-ups for us.
It's getting to Kenny. The heat is clearly getting to Kenny.
You are the man. 16, 37,
okay. Not too sure what to say about that, but when we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, a special guest, the most recent winning car owner in the Sprint Cup Series circuit. We'll have him when we come back. Tuesday morning, it's one of the most anticipated moments in NASCAR history as the NASCAR Hall of Fame opens its doors for the first time. Witness the NASCAR Hall of Fame grand opening Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time exclusively on Speed. And race fans, you've got to get to this building. It is absolutely spectacular, state-of-the-art, and includes some of the most important memorabilia ever in the history of NASCAR. The Glory Road will take you up the banking and through the history of NASCAR. And also, one car that you will see in the Hall of Fame was the car that won the closest finish since the advent of electronic timing in NASCAR, and that's the 32 driven by Ricky Craven in 2003 here at Darlington.
If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. Busch is the new leader, and he has driven away.
I may have stood on the gas early in that run to catch Gordon and Elliott Sadler. I passed them and built up a solid lead. I thought that I was going to win the race.
Now here comes Ricky Craven in that Pontiac, in the Tide car. I mean, here he is. He's all over the back of Elliott Sadler.
With 15 to go, I had my sights set on Kurt.
Craven is coming. I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to have time. But if something happened to Busch, you get up here and get in traffic and get woed up a little bit, you got to race to the finish.
With 10 laps to go, we were closing in.
Craven's faster by far, and I tell you, he's got time. It's going to be really exciting. Really, really exciting.
With 5 laps to go, we caught Kurt.
Watch Craven on this end of the racetrack. Really gets off the turn 4 hard. Here he comes.
And with 3 laps to go, we made a pass for the lead.
He was on the inside, and at that point, you have to decide if you're going to let the guy go or not. And he didn't quite have enough position on me for me to back out, so I stayed in it.
Come on, baby, come on. Side by side. Somebody's got to give. Getting into turn 1.
Nobody. And in the wall goes Busch.
That was not a very good idea. Look, the crossover move. He got into it. Come on, clear.
Very difficult to pass at Darlington. Extra difficult when the tires are wore out, and they were.
Oh, baby, I'm telling you, Kurt Busch is not going to give up the win. No, he's not. They'll be coming to the white flag this time. Ricky Craven's not going to give up either. He gets that run on the high side right there. Kurt Busch looks like he's struggling with his race car. Here he comes. Here we go again. White flag. Here he goes.
I wasn't sure that I could actually pass him. You know, I was sure I could get ahead of him. And with a few laps to go, it's going to be a contact sport.
Everything was out on the line. We knew that it was just us two, and it was going to come down to that final corner, the final lap.
Who's going to get off? Here he comes. Here he comes. He's got
always wanted to win Darlington. Always, always, always. It's just, well, it's too tough to tame. And I think as a racer, you really get up for a place like this. And I got to be honest, I didn't know we won. I mean, we got to the finish line, and I thought, this is a tough way to lose a race, but a great way to win one.
And let us not forget that the owner of that car at the time was Cal Wells, one of the true good guys in racing, and he made it to victory lane that day with Ricky Craven. Let's take a look at the closest finishes, of course, since the advent of electronic scoring. 0.002 seconds was the finish you just saw, and it doesn't really, you can't just physically get closer than that.
That was amazing. I can't believe watching it all over again.
And how proper for that to happen at one of the oldest racetracks where would we have had photo finish like that Daytona 500 when Lee Petty won it? Can you see us going through photo finishes? Thank God.
We can do it pretty quick now, though.
But you expected it at Daytona and Talladega. You expected it at a place like that. You don't expect that finish at Darlington. And a couple of things I noticed there that I really liked about that. That goes back to boys have at it. And you saw Kurt Busch, you heard how humble Ricky was, but you saw Kurt Busch come to victory lane and congratulate him. When you can race that hard and still shake hands, that's NASCAR racing. That's what this sport's all about.
And I want to say, Ricky Craven done that after his injury with Hendrick Motorsports. Ricky Craven, a dear friend of mine, I miss him. What a talented race car driver. Said, Ricky, why did you quit racing? He says, you know, I just couldn't get a good ride. But I'll tell you one thing about Ricky Craven. He left a mark in this sport of NASCAR on that day.
And Cal Wells with the PPI Racing organization up there in Hickory, North Carolina, they did it their own way, and they got it done at Darlington back on that very famous day. We got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, but we want to remind you that this Sprint Cup Series race is not the only time that NASCAR comes to Darlington. The Camping World Truck Series will be here to duke it out Saturday night, August 14th, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, under the lights on the Lady in Black. Welcome back, everybody, to the Darlington Raceway, where this track looks tame right now, and you can also see some white on the racetrack, but you know what? It's not going to look like that very much sooner. Mark Martin 1 year ago, he started his tear at this time during the season and went on to become a championship contender. And let us not forget that Jamie McMurray, for the second time this season, will lead us to the green flag. Now, Kyle Busch made his way back to victory lane after a relatively short absence, but not short by the number 18 team standards. They made it back into victory lane, and now we have a new leader in the standings right now, and that is Kevin Harvick. That's a place where he has spent a little bit of time so far this season, and now he is back there again for the longest period of time in his career. Kevin Harvick by 10 over Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch just 109 behind Matt Kenseth quietly, and the Biff off to one of his best starts ever. Then it's Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Burton, and Mark Martin rounding out your top 10 in points. Let's take a look at the danger zone back there, we like to call it. 12th and on back. Clint Boyer is in the chase as of right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. outside right now, but Martin Truex Jr., Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, some of the many great race teams along with Joey Logano knocking on the door and trying to make their way back in. Now, one of the teams this year that has been showing the way and also made it back to victory lane several times this year is Joe Gibbs Racing. We had J.D. Gibbs with us tonight. J.D., thanks for coming out.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We appreciate the time.
Thanks,
now,
guys.
you guys got 3 teams and a lot of people to organize.
Yeah.
How good does it feel when you get all 3 of them running well?
It feels great. You know, we've been doing this about 19 years, and the reality of it is to get everyone kind of pulling the same direction and get some good results, it's hard to do, whoever you are. And so it makes us feel good, and we can get that stuff accomplished.
Well, you know, you guys finished last year really strong. I thought Denny had a shot, and I said this to your father last week on Victory Lane. I thought really Denny had a shot to challenge it, if not for a couple of mishaps and a couple of things that happened. But this year, you guys showed up the first 3 races, and I didn't even know y'all were at the racetrack. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be ugly. But the 20 car was there.
Yeah,
Joey
no,
made
I'll
fast improvement. But the 11 and the 18, they seemed to struggle. What'd you guys do at the shop to kind of turn that around? Because I know Denny didn't have some bionics planted in that knee or something, because he turned around once he got that done, baby.
He might have.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, that's our secret. There's our secret.
He really, for us, we didn't panic quite as much as, you know, people on the outside looking like, oh, what's wrong? Because around it, we knew our stuff was good. We ran well. We were consistent. We just did not get the finishes that we needed to get coming to us. Whether it was someone, you know, got in an accident or had any mechanical failures, which are serious, but we ran fast when we ran. I think for Joey to make the jump he made in the past year, that blows me away probably as much as anything.
Yeah, that was huge.
JD, a year or two ago, you said there's going to be 11 teams with 4 cars apiece. I know you need 4 teams, but why? Why does everybody need 4 teams?
Yeah. Well, first, I appreciate you actually listening to me.
I listen to you.
He does. He listens every once in a while.
That's better than my wife. I think for us, I think that's the way. In effect, some teams might not have 4, but some of their partnerships, in effect, make it 7 or 8. So you kind of look at it, what's the best, healthiest way for this sport to go forward? And 4 is probably a pretty good number, but if you can have 3 here or 4 here and then 2 over here, what does that mean? And I think for us going forward, 4 would probably be a great situation, but you can't do it and do it half-heartedly. It has to be done well. If you can't do it well, right driver sponsor, you're better off not doing it.
JD, I'm getting tired of people asking it to you. When do you think this is going to end? When are people going to quit asking you, JD, when's your 4th team coming? JD, when's your 4th team coming?
They'll probably quit asking when we have 4 teams. But 4 is kind of our goal, not 7 or 8. But I do think, I think one thing we lean on as a group at Toyota does a great job kind of using all of our resources and making the team share.
So you got to get the money first to get 4 teams.
That definitely doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt your effort all. But JD, one thing you guys got going for your team for sure is that you guys have very young, successful drivers. We can't really say that you're just a team for the future because you're a team in the present right now, but that's got to bode well for the future, having Kyle sign long-term and having Joey Logano, what was he, 15, 16? He'll be 16.
Yeah.
Years old?
Years old. Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
No, we're kidding.
I'm kidding, but a young group and definitely a team with a bright future.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal when you kind of look at where they are. And the way what was encouraging in us is watch Danny and Kyle work with Joey behind the scenes last year. And now Joey actually come out and help them with stuff. That was kind of see that come full circle was good. But for us, every year you have to run well in this sport, otherwise you cease to exist. There's no franchises. So for us, that's the big thing. We want to be here a long time. We got a great group of guys and girls at the shop. We want to be here forever.
Yeah, everybody talks about long term. How important is that commitment from Toyota to Gibbs Racing to move forward?
Yeah, it was, I mentioned before, we were GM forever, a long time.
I know.
I think what happened, you kind of got caught up is where are we in the hierarchy at GM? And obviously we weren't 1, 2, where do you fit? At Toyota, what they do a good job of, they kind of have the resources everyone can kind of tap into. It was hard for us to kind of learn that, and we used to do stuff on our own, but they do a great job of making you tap in and then kind of really adding an extra, I think, element of technology that we don't have at JGR.
Yeah. JD, I'd like to talk about something you alluded to. Do you acknowledge that Rick Hendrick has 2 other cars, being Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman? Do you acknowledge that that is a 5th and 6th car?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is. And we had Hall of Fame racing. Our mistake with Hall of Fame racing, we should have just said, look, be our 4th car. We kind of keep it at arm's length, and you didn't share everything, kind of what you wanted to see, from a NASCAR standpoint. And in reality, we should have probably done that differently. But I think going forward, it's okay to have some satellite teams as long as there's the clear, what is the delineation, what's the difference? And I think that's not bad for the sport because everyone can't build engines. That's a hard thing. You need to lease engines. But what does that look like? I think NASCAR is kind of going through that and figuring that out themselves too.
Hey, JD, after the devastating news that your son Taylor had leukemia a couple years back, now we get the great news that he's cancer-free. And that's so wonderful to be able to say that.
Thank you.
And now you guys are planning a big. Tell us about Taylor's finish line.
Yeah, we're kind of doing a celebration. Really, 3.5 years ago, he got diagnosed with leukemia. And so he had his last treatment, Lord willing, 3 weeks ago. And so I think Kyle's seeing this, working with Victory Junction, it gives you great perspective on life. What really is important, what really matters. And we're going to do it's kind of grown. My wife's kind of in charge of, if you go to www.finishlinefestival.com, and there's some great auction items there from all NFL, NBA, NASCAR stuff. And the event is May 23rd, after the Hall of Fame inductions, all through the evenings. We have concerts, Toby Mac. We have, it's like a fair-type carnival festival. We have, go-karts and auctions and bake sales. So just a lot of fun. Bring the family and enjoy it.
FinishLineFestival.com.
Yep, and it's for Make-A-Wish and for us, for Levine's Children's Hospital, two groups that really impacted our family.
JD, thanks for coming by. Come back and see us anytime. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man.
JD Gibbs. He's the boss man over there now. Well, one of several boss men over there right now. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to go back again to Kyle Petty's feature with David Pierce. And, for a while, he was the boss around this place. NASCAR racing since 1950. There is nothing like the Darlington Raceway, and tonight the #1 car will start P1. Jamie McMurray, in a matter of just a couple of hours, will lead us to the green flag here at Darlington, the track that is too tough to tame, unless, of course, you were David Pearson. The Silver Fox had 10 wins and 12 pole positions at this racetrack. No one raced the place like David, and he sat down and talked with our own KP.
No driver has won more races at Darlington than David Pearson.
Now Pearson pours in. The Wood brothers do their usual spectacular job, and David gets less than a 20-second rest. Flat out down the chute, David Pearson pops the cork on his red and white number 21 and sizzles past Marcus to grab the lead. Hey, Mr. Cool is out front again.
You and the Wood brothers were probably the combination, if you look at Darlington through the history.
I think so.
Yeah.
Really.
What made you guys?
They knew what I wanted, you know, and in fact, we never would hardly ever even change that car. Once we go there, if it wasn't right, you know, he would ask me, "Do you need to change something?" I'd say no, because I wasn't running where I wanted to run, and I wasn't running the groove that I wanted to run. So I knew that I could run faster when the groove got to where I wanted it. So I wouldn't let him touch the car.
When you talk about, you know, everybody talks about Darlington being too tough to tame. When you went there to race, were the competitors your toughest competitor, or was the racetrack your toughest competitor?
Well, no doubt about it. You had to keep in mind on what you're doing at all time and where you was at. You know, like I say, back then, I was always setting my car up when I could go back in, like going into the old three. As quick as I got right on the bottom of the flat getting in the corner, I was back in the throttle. And if I could hold the car wide open through 3 and 4 there, I would be too tight in 1 and 2. And I knew that. So I would always set my car up to do that, where I could get back on the throttle in 3 and 4 and run wide open through there. And look how much longer it made that straightaway. I was a quarter of a mile longer than anybody else. My straightaway was the way I was running it.
It's an egg-shaped racetrack anyhow.
That's right.
So when you looked at the egg-shaped racetrack, you looked at 3 and 4 being the most important corners.
Well,
there.
it was the widest and it was the longest. And so if you can run through 3 and 4 faster than anybody else, you had them beat mostly because you got that big, long straightaway.
You know, I said earlier, talked about my grandfather going there with cars kind of like this one behind you here. You know, just stock cars really in a lot of ways.
But that is not stock.
Yeah, that was not stock. Running on the flat, running up on the bank.
Right.
You know, and we've been to Darlington with those cars. We've been to Darlington with what was considered the stock cars of the 60s, and then it rolled into the true race cars, and now we've been to Darlington with cars with wings, and we've been to Darlington with all this stuff. And it still continues to be one of the toughest racetracks on the circuit. Why do you think Darlington is still, from 1950 or 51 when they built the place to 2010, why is it still the toughest place we run, do you think?
Because you have to drive it the same way you did back then.
Yeah.
You know, the track is, well, of course, they got the safety wall now, which is about 3 foot in, so that makes the track that much shorter. But if you drive it the same way, you still get it as much as you can. You get as close to that wall as you can through the corners, and so that makes it that much bigger.
So even though all the technology has changed and everything's changed, it's still going to come down to the guy that's sitting behind the seat and where he finds his place to run the racetrack.
If I was to go back to running today, I'd try my best to run the same place I did before.
That's amazing.
You know, a couple of years ago, David Pearson came down here and took Carl Edwards on a ride around this racetrack and showed him the proper line to take. And he also did the same thing with Joey Logano last year as a rookie, took Joey around and showed him a thing or two. Did it work out? Well, Joey Logano finished 9th here last year in his rookie season, and also that gives him even more knowledge to bring us our Home Depot Hot Lap.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano. This is your Home Depot Hot Lap. This week we're in Darlington. A lot different than Richmond last week. This place is one of the few places I feel like we go to that you really have the sensation that you're really going fast. And it's fun. I mean, qualifying here is one of those places you get out of the car and you're shaking. It's pretty crazy. And here you're right up by the fence. You're carrying a lot of speed around this place. 2 different ends, completely different ends. So it's definitely a balance of getting your car good on both ends. So that's why I'm working on that a lot. One of the things here is it's a lot of fun by yourself. It's frustrating sometimes when there's cars around you because if you ever watch the race here, there's not more than one lane really. It makes it really hard to pass. So track position is going to be key. I think if you have a decent car and you have good pit stops, good pit strategy to get you up front, I think that's going to be a big deal. I think it's going to be a lot of 2 tires, a lot of 4 tire stops, and maybe no tires. So a lot of things to be changing, and you'll see a lot of things mixing up throughout the race. So it's a matter of us being on our A game and doing the right calls when we need to. So that's probably the biggest thing here at Darlington. So that's your Home Depot Hot Lap.
Joey, thanks a lot. Coming up on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we will answer the question, who's your daddy, on our Sunoco Performance Picks. But we'll also talk to some of the mothers behind the race car drivers that will compete here tonight.
Next week, the boys don't get a break as the fastest 43 head from the Lady in Black to the Monster. We'll see who conquers race day's favorite mile. Live from Dover, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
There is always something good cooking at Darlington, and those ribs look, well, wonderful. How long till we're done here? No, we still got plenty more time left. And I'm just going to call this a beanbag toss game, if that's okay with everybody else. But it's a sport that happens a lot out here. And also, how about a little swimming going on out here? You can bring your own pool out to Darlington, make yourself at home, do a little, roll a little dice and see where your car ends up. That's a new one on me, KP. I don't think I've seen that one out there yet, but that's a good...
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. It's however you have your fun before the race. This is how we have our fun before the race, and it's our performance picks. Right now, KP with the rookie stripe on the back of the car is still doing pretty well, but cheater Wendy is gaining. Wendy's cheating.
Killing me. All right, here's my picks this week. Wendy, you're killing me. You had great picks last week. First, second, and what? 7th or 8th? I don't know what it was. Here's who I go. I go the 11, Denny Hamlin. 18, Kyle Busch. And the 78 of Regan Smith. And I'd go with the Gibbs organization. I'm not going to differentiate between the 11 and the 18. The Gibbs organization has upped their game over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm going with the Gibbs organization this week.
Well, Kyle, I'm being a good teammate to my buddy Hermie because he doesn't get to pick very towards the top of points, so I invited him to come pick with me. All right, here.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
All
right, I'm going with Jeff Gordon in my A category.
No, you can't go with Jeff Gordon. I'm picking Jeff Gordon.
Copycat. And my B group is going to be Jeff Burton.
You can't pick Jeff Burton. I'm picking Jeff Burton.
This is why you can't gain any points. I'm going to go TNA on you. All right, and then I'm going with Paul Menard in my C category. Is my hair messed up now?
Your hair's not messed up. I'm picking Jeff Gordon. Who else am I picking?
Those
Jeff
are
Burton.
Good picks.
And I'm picking David Gilliland.
This is
and
why
I'm
I
going to
can't
talk
gain
about
points.
Jeff Burton, but I'm not going to talk about him because I'm mad. Who's next?
Hermie, there's no pouting in your performance picks. You cannot pout. All right, let's take a look at who we're going with. And you know what? I agree with those guys. I think Jeff Gordon is the man at this racetrack. He's always been. Where's Jeff? There's Jeff. He's always been the man at this racetrack. 7 wins. He's going to get another one tonight. But also some guys are going to drive well. How about your pole sitter, Jamie McMurray? And also out of the C group, I got the 26 of David Stremme. This guy is doing a great job behind the wheel of that car. But the most productive spot to start at in this race has always been the pole. That's why Jamie McMurray's in the B group. He's not a B driver, but he's going to get it done tonight. Kenny Wallace.
Yes, I am General Kenny Wallace coming at you on a dusty road because I'm a soul man. Number 48, Jimmy Johnson going to win the race. David Rudiman going to stun the nation. Let me see who else I got here. 98, Paul Menard. But I want to talk about this guy right here, David Rudiman. We call him Rudy. He's blowed a lot of motors this year. I said stop blowing motors. When he stops blowing motors, he's always in the top 5. Rudy is going to stun the nation. David Rudiman. Hey, Juan, what do you mean I'm last? I always throw it off to somebody behind me. I'm last?
It's me now. Juan. All right, I guess I'll be Juan.
Juan Pablo Montoya.
All right, if you want to win one of these fuel cans, you have your chance. Perhaps you can win 2. Put them on both sides of the fireplace in the family room. Race fans, how would you like to have an official Sunoco Racing fuel can? Visit speedtv.com/SoCo for entry details, official rules, and drawing dates. When we come back, a salute to the mothers without whom we would not be here today.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Tornadoes. Bold is how we roll. And by the United States Air Force. Experience more at airforce.com.
Got a couple of programming notes for you. Tonight on Speed, we have live Supercross at 10 p.m. and then also NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, will come your way tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And also, you want to make sure you check out the Supercross. Great action tonight on the motorcycles at 10 p.m. Now let's go down to Hermie Sadler, who will begin the old lightning round. Hermie?
Yeah, man, my favorite part of the show, catching the drivers right before they get on the grid. Max, 500 miles at Darlington. What's your expectation tonight?
I mean, this is a great racetrack. It's definitely a driver track. It's an awesome place to be, a lot of history. You know, we had a pretty good session, you know, with the Geico Toyota. You know, didn't qualify as good as I wanted, but, you know, we're in the show. This is a racetrack that you need to be patient, very opportunistic, and I mean, it's going to be the guy who's going to risk the most without risking it all.
And I'm going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to wish Happy Mother's Day to the important people in your life so neither one of us get in trouble.
Absolutely. You know, I want to say, you know, Happy Mother's Day to all the mommies at home. You know, my wife, she's here. My mom, she's back in Italy. I miss her a lot. You know, but it's a special day, and it's great to see all this family-oriented situation here in NASCAR. So, see you all out there, and Happy Mommy's Day. Ciao.
That's Max Pappas. He rolls off 43rd. Wendy?
Well, thank you, Hermie. I got to say happy Mother's Day to my mom, Kathy, at home in Concord, and I will see her tomorrow, taking her to brunch. I'm sure you have some great plans for Mother's Day, but first, your plan of attack today with this cool paint scheme you're carrying, Clint.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, we'll start off with that. You know, the Hartford 200th birthday. We got all sorts of stuff going on. Got the Hartford's 200th birthday, Coca-Cola's 124th year they're celebrating, and we got Mother's Day. So that's first things first. From there, we'll take it, hopefully we'll get to Hartford Chevrolet, a good run tonight, going to the backup car. So unfortunately, I've seen the wall, but fortunately, I know where it's at, and hopefully I can stay out of it tonight.
All right, let's talk to your mom, Miss Jana Boyer, now Lovely Flowers. That's always fun to come here to the Darlington weekend for Mother's Day. How much do you enjoy this?
Oh, I love it. It's so fun to be able to walk across the stage with Clint, and one of these days I'm going to get to ride in the truck, but so far he won't let me.
What? Why is this, Clint?
I'm going to have to give her a ride in a truck. Carl always brings his mom in a truck, and ever since then, my mom's been wanting to, so I think I'm going to have to take her for a ride.
The power of television. There you go, Miss Jana. Happy Mother's Day, Hermie.
Well, thanks, Wendy. Kevin Harvick, pretty good qualifying run for you tonight, and you need to keep that points lead, but let's get our Mother's Day wishes out there first so we can get that out of the way.
Yeah, I just want to say happy Mother's Day to my mom and all the other moms out there. But yeah, it's car was really good. We didn't qualify that well, but all in all, practice went really well for us, and it's going to be fun. I mean, the main thing tonight is just going to be taking care of your car, surviving the first half of the race, and doing what you need to do that. So the other thing we got going on today is Coke's 124th anniversary. So here, I got this for you.
Oh, man, you're a nice guy. Regardless of what everybody says, you're a nice guy.
Thanks.
Coca-Cola. Wendy?
All right, well, here we are at driver intros, and Martin Truex, if I could get you to turn around here. It's busy in the Mother's Day celebration. How cool is it to have your mom with you?
Well, it's a lot of fun. She comes to a few races a year, but it's fun to get them out here and let them say driver start your engines and all that. They get excited about it, so it's pretty cool.
All right, Miss Linda, what do you think about this weekend so far? You've come to the races before, but it's always special for Mother's Day weekend.
Pretty cool. I like it. I got pretty flowers.
And did you know I've put your son to the test of walking on the catwalk for charity?
I've heard about that, yes.
So do you think he should?
No.
Oh, sorry, Miss Sherry. Busted. All right, Hermie, back to you.
Well, this is going to be my favorite interview of the show. Obviously, Brother Elliott, Mother Belle, happy Mother's Day, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. I am delighted to be here. It's one of my most favorite races of the year, fun times of the year. Family's important to me, and I'm just so lucky to have a loving one.
And you're going
to the state all.
And listen, you're going to be on Racing Chef with Chef Ricky this week, Monday night.
Chef Ricky, yes. Totally unexpected, but I'm a great cook.
I go along with that.
No, I'm only joking. I'm joking. But tune in and get a good recipe.
Okay, Elliott, special weekend for everybody I know, and I know you'd be honored to get a good solid run in your Hunts Brothers car tonight with Mama Belle here.
Well, we definitely do, and just like you said, it's so cool that we get to share each other's company at the racetrack each and every week, and love when Mom and Dad can come, and me and this Mother's Day weekend will make it special if we can run good here tonight. It's one of my favorite tracks, 500 miles, and we've actually got a pretty good car for tonight, so we're going to try to keep their Darlington stripes to a minimum and try to make it the whole 500 miles.
And your wife Amanda, a mother for the first time today as well.
Yeah, she is, and she's staying back at the bus right now with Wyatt. It's time for him to eat, so we're definitely going to celebrate Mother's Day tomorrow back in Emporia with everybody, and she is so excited to have her first Mother's Day, and it's neat for us to be here and be a part of it. It's cool.
Well, everybody's happy right now backstage. Wendy?
Thank you, Hermie. This was a Mother's Day interview I was looking forward to because Miss Kay Keselowski, mother to Brad, has watched Brad and myself grow up in the ARCA garage, and Miss Kay knows all of our secrets from childhood. I don't know. We might get in trouble bringing your mom into this.
Well, hopefully she's not going to share them tonight. But I'm glad that she could be here to share our Mother's Day weekend, a special weekend. My mom still lives up in Michigan, so I don't get to see her all the time. So anything we can do to have fun together is worth doing.
Kay, how fun has it been for you to watch Brad's career just skyrocket in the last 2 years, knowing from where we all started from in our roots of racing?
It's been amazing. It really has. I'm very, very proud of him.
All right. Well, it's great to have Kay Keselowski along with Brad here. Good luck tonight.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. Backstage, Dale Earnhardt Jr. All the moms are backstage. It's always a special occasion here at Darlington, and cool racetrack on top of that.
Yeah, it's awesome to have your mother out here on Mother's Day. It's a pretty neat deal for them. They enjoy it, and we enjoy getting them out to the racetrack. It's about the only race Mom comes to, so it's a little cooler, and temperatures are good, so I thought it was going to be a lot hotter today, but it's actually pretty good. Amp Energy NASCAR Chevrolet was pretty good in what little time we had to practice with it. So we'll just have to see how we can get it going. Feel like we got a pretty good car.
And all the moms backstage. Miss Mom is hugging on Brad Keselowski there. We're going to get to her in just a moment, but let's go to Winnie. She's probably got another son-mother combination backstage.
And I'm with David Reagan, his mother, Miss Beverly, and Miss Jacqueline Butler, your girlfriend, of course. Now, talk about David. You two, just like Brad Keselowski I just talked with, coming from the roots of racing, and really your career has skyrocketed as well. But in here in the Cup Series, how happy is it to have your mom here and celebrate this kind of day?
It's good, and hopefully we can get a good run out of our UPS Ford. But Mom's had to go through two with my dad and with me. So, growing up, as a young kid, she was obviously at the races and trying to take care of two little ones running around. And then as I was racing some, trying to take care of me. So she's been a trooper, and hopefully we can get her a good run for tonight.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know, David's dad, Ken, and my father, Bill, raced together, and they have something in common. They've both broken their necks in race cars. Miss Beverly, you have gone through a lot in watching your husband and now your son race.
It's been a lot, but I'm also always there to support them, for sure.
And are you enjoying today? It's kind of crazy down here.
It is, but that's just part of the race, and it's exciting.
It sure is. Well, it's great to see you today. Hermie, who do you have up there?
Well, Scott Speed, first of all, we got to find out, we saw the name of that car. You named it nightly. What's behind that name?
Well, originally it was after Keira Knightley, because it wasn't my primary car, it was the backups. It's kind of like cheat on your wife, so they thought I'd come up with a girl's name that was really, someone that I'd have a replacement for the wife for. So, and it was Knightley, it's a night race, so it kind of worked there. So we ended up with.
What's it going to take to get that car up and get a good finish tonight?
Keep everything on it, all the fenders, and not, hopefully tear down the wall too much.
Scott Speed, and hold on one second, we're going to swing right around here.
Here we go.
Get Denny Hamlin. Okay. This way. He's getting some instruction. Denny, Mom, Mary Lou, can we get you also? Good night for you last night. How do you repeat that tonight?
Hopefully we have a good as car as what we had last night. Last night we had a really exceptional car, and just got good restarts here at the end. So it's we felt like we had a pretty good car in race trim yesterday with our FedEx Camry. We'll just see if we can't. We're starting in the top 10, which is a win for us in qualifying day. So we'll see where it goes.
And glad to have Mom here quickly. Happy Mother's Day to you and all the other moms that are here.
Thank you. And happy Mother's Day to all the grandmothers, too.
There you go, grandmothers as well. She's been good luck for Denny so far this weekend, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. We certainly cannot forget the grandmothers. Happy Mother's Day, Mom and Mama. And there's the #1 car that's going to lead us to the green flag as we get ready for some hot action under the lights at Darlington. We remind you to join us for NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, tomorrow night at 8.